We're starting a thing called Off the Cuff. Cooper and Company's Off the Cuff. And what that means is we're going to be talking with folks off the cuff, folks that you know or grew up with that are relatively well known or used to be in the Alabama, Southern Tennessee area, especially here in North Alabama. So one of the ones we're starting with, and we're honored, the legendary morning show television host when we all were kids, Mr. Benny Carle in Florence, Alabama. We're honored, Mr. Carle. Benny, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much.
It is good to see you. When was the last time you were on live TV?
The last time?
Yeah, live TV.
Good gracious. I think we sold Channel 48 in 1972. And that was the last time I was on the air with my kid show.
Oh, that's a long time ago. Well, first and foremost, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just turned 87.
87, right, yeah.
You're still working.
Yeah, yeah.
You're here in Florence. Still got TV, radio still going.
Well, my son Benji, of course, runs the day-to-day operation totally. And I come in here and try to keep out of trouble.
You started, if my memory serves me correct, you were the first person to be live on television in Alabama?
1949. When TV first came to Alabama, it was on Channel 13 and Channel 6 in Birmingham. Channel 13 went on the air 2 weeks before Channel 6 because Channel 13 had live cameras. And the first thing they wanted to do was have a kid show because kids were watching TV. The adults didn't understand it.
1949.
1949.
So that's when you started your kid show?
Yeah, 1949. The other station didn't have cameras yet. So we started, and I went up to the station, up on the mountain, Red Mountain.
Where it's
it's still there, yeah. And I put on a cowboy hat and a shirt, and introduced the Western Theater, which was a cowboy movie every afternoon. I had seen those cowboy movies when I was a kid. You know, Buck Jones, Cowboy, Tom Mix, Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, all of them, and we started showing those movies. Well, I started showing those movies, and next thing you know, some children showed up in the park right across the street from the station. And I got an idea, hey, I'd call the children up to the station. And they came in the studio and sat on the floor. And I started asking them questions and talking about them a little bit too, you know. Next thing you know, the telephone started ringing off the wall. All the Brownie mothers and the Cub Scout dens in town wanted to be on the show too. We made all the reservations for several months ahead on a daily basis.
Well, let me back up a little and get back to that. How did you get into TV prior to 1949?
I was in radio.
You were in radio in Birmingham?
Out of Birmingham Southern College, where I went to high school, college, Birmingham Southern. I graduated in 47. No, I graduated in 1950, but I was in TV a couple of years while I was still in college.
Now, were there any other stations in Alabama at the time?
No, not at that time.
So you were the first person literally to broadcast live on television in the state of Alabama?
If there was anybody else, Montgomery, Mobile, Huntsville, anybody, they sure didn't make themselves known.
But you did.
I did.
All right, so you started bringing these kids in, so we'll get back to that too. But how long did you do a kids show in Birmingham, and then you came to WMSL in Huntsville?
Okay, I stayed with Channel 13 for 5 years. Then I switched over to Channel 6 another 11 years. And then I came to Huntsville in 1965 and stayed until 72. So what became a local program in Birmingham became the longest running local TV show in America. And for those who keep such records, they tell me that still stands. Local TV. Now, Tom York stayed on as long as I did, but he didn't start before I did.
Tom and I flew in the Thunderbirds back in '77 together. He flew it.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately, I threw up in mine. He didn't. He was able to handle it a lot better than I did. So when you started, you were doing the Westerns, which Westerns are even big now. We still run the Rifleman, Hopalong, Cassidy, and stuff like that.
I was in the Rifleman.
I'm going to get to that in a second. When did you start bringing guests in? Because I know you had Captain Kangaroo, the Lone Ranger, the original Lone Ranger.
Yeah, the original.
Cisco Kid.
Brace Beamer was his name. The original radio Lone Ranger. Cisco Kid was Duncan Ronaldo.
Right.
They all heard about my show in Hollywood, and when they were on their tours promoting their own movies, it come straight to my show. Johnny Mac Brown was on my show. You remember Johnny Mac Brown,
Yes,
the great
I do.
football hero of Alabama? 1925 Rosemobile.
You and I only have one person in common that we both interviewed. Pat Haney, was that his name, from Haleyville?
Yeah.
Pat Buttram.
Yeah,
Mr.
Buttram.
Haney, Mr. Haney on that.
Pat Buttram, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He passed away too.
He did. But I would assume, you being 87, that most everyone you've dealt with in the past has passed away.
You had to remind me, huh?
Well, I mean, but you're in amazing shape. And do you still hear from a lot of kids, and I know you do, Benji Stoley, that were on your show?
Oh, yeah. Almost on a daily basis. I got a website, and they go to the website, bennycarle.com, and there's a place on there where they can talk to me, email me. And I get 8 or 10 a day from all over there, watch out, all over the world. When they grew up and went wherever they went, all over the world in their professions and whatever they became, they still remember the day that they appeared on my show.
Did you do birthday parties too?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Birthday parties was the main thing. A lot of cakes. We gave away free cakes.
How many kids do you figure you put on TV?
Kids and...
Then kids.
Kids and guests too. Around close to 500,000, about between 400,000 and 500,000.
So the kids
over the years.
The kid thing started getting bigger and bigger.
That's right.
Birthday party.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Did you ever run out anything to talk to kids about?
No. You talk to the children. They brought up the subject. I didn't make it up. Whatever they said to me is what I carried on. It's like I'm doing with you right now.
And you did the Circle 6 Ranch, which you have it here still on your desk, the original.
Yeah.
So were you a cowboy?
I was a cowboy.
Now, I know you used to be in a big band.
Yeah.
And you've got a whole thing up here, big band. You were a drummer?
I was a drummer. Yeah.
So you've always sought the limelight?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. My 2 brothers became engineers. They were smart, much more intelligent
Probably
than me.
boring, though.
Huh?
They were probably boring.
Well, one was younger, one was older. My brother Fred, who passed away about 3 years ago, became one of the engineers with Dr. Von Braun. As a matter of fact, he was one of the engineers that got us on the moon, my brother Fred. And my brother Frank is also an engineer. He'd worked on the same projects, but they were both more. I couldn't handle that much math when I was in college. So I took a radio, I just chose it. I was a big band drummer, and I wanted to be another Gene Krupa or Buddy Rich. And when I realized I wasn't going to be those guys, the next best thing was to get on the radio and play their music. And that's what I did at WAPI in Birmingham.
Do you remember what kind of money you made when you started out in TV?
Yeah, I do remember. Never forget. $35 a week. And I was a top pay.
At the station?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever work in sales back then, or did you just say, okay?
Yeah, I always helped sales, yeah.
Now,
Selling my own show.
When Captain Kangaroo, he was kind of the biggest of all, wasn't he, doing morning television?
Captain Kangaroo was a good friend. His name was Bobby Keeshan, Robert Keeshan. I visited him once when he was doing his kids show in New York, and it was on WCBS TV Channel 2 only. I visited him one time to learn what he was doing, and we got to be friends. And later on, many years later, he came to see me on my set in Birmingham.
I've seen the picture.
Yeah, I became a cowboy. He never did. I became a cowboy because I was showing cowboy movies.
How did you get on the Rifleman?
Well, now that's another story. Chuck Connors.
I love that show.
Oh yeah.
We run it on our station now.
The name of the episode that I was in was called The Assailants. The Assailants. Chuck Connors at one time was a baseball player, He played professional baseball, and his home team was Birmingham, Alabama. He was sent as a farm team, Birmingham Barons. And he came down to Birmingham, and he appeared on my show one time as promoting the ball team. Later on, when he became the Rifleman, he had a promotion to get some of the top personalities from all over the country at the ABC affiliates, and we were one of them, to come to Hollywood and be a part and take a part in his movie. Well, because he had appeared on my show, he gave me a speaking part.
Get out.
In The Rifleman.
Yep. You remember it? What was your line?
My line, Amos Blaine was a telegraph operator, and I played the part of the
hat.
Yeah. Kind of hat, yeah.
You know that Johnny Crawford, kid who played Mark,
Johnny
has a big band now and was in Huntsville a couple of years ago and did a thing.
Johnny Crawford does. What about the big band?
He's got a big band. He's 65 years old.
Well, Johnny was with us on that show.
He sure was.
That was 1962.
The Rifleman was a big hit.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest.
7 years.
Right.
Ran 7 years.
So, interviewing kids and having all these people on there, why aren't there more kid shows on today?
I don't know. TV stations just don't have that anymore. I don't know why. I guess it ended when we sold our station.
So you were in Birmingham, you did the kid show, you came up as part owner, I'm assuming, WMSL out of Decatur.
Right.
And then you moved it over to Huntsville.
Became 48.
And it became Channel 48 what it is today.
Yeah.
Do you miss television?
You know, after you get to a certain age, of course I miss it. I just can't do it anymore.
Did you wear makeup back in those days?
Makeup?
Yeah.
No.
You didn't? So you never wore makeup in it?
Not that, no.
I've got some on now.
The only makeup I ever wore was when I was on the Rifleman. They set me in a room where the makeup people made me into an older man. They'd make stuff on my face, you know, that they had to have for the lights they were using, right. 40 millimeter cameras.
What is your fondest memory of being known by everybody and one of the most popular people ever on television in the state of Alabama?
My fondest memory?
Yeah.
Actually, the best memories I ever had was after I got married and had my own children come on the show with me. Benji, Jay, and Jim. Yeah, they came on the show with me.
You say there's no video that exists of your program.
No, that was before videotape was invented. And after it was invented, my show was off the air. I didn't tape any shows at all.
Let's go back to a few guys that are still around you work with. Country Boy Eddie.
Oh, yeah. Is Eddie still around? Ed is a good friend. We hired Country Boy Eddie to do the early morning show. You know,
he did a good job at it.
Oh, he was perfect. Great. And when we hired Tom York, Tom came on and was doing the news on his show. But they felt like, you know, news and the country show didn't mix too well, so they put Tom on earlier than Country Boy Eddie, and he became the morning show. Then later on they switched it around again, and Eddie came on earlier than Tom. But Tom and I go back way back to the first days of TV.
Do you miss television?
Yeah.
How do you think TV has changed? There's so much stuff on now that it's not worth watching. Still, is there a market still for local television shows? Maybe not kid shows, but I mean, we do local, but you know, we're still
the thing that distresses me the most about television today is the immorality of it.
There's a lot of that.
Too much.
You can get away with a lot of stuff now on morning TV.
You know, we did programs back in those days. I had a Saturday morning show at the Alabama Theater, which was the biggest theater in the state of Alabama. And the kids who had a ranch hand card, I gave away ranch hand cards.
Yes, sir.
You know, members of the ranch hand. And they would come down and go to the show on Saturday mornings. Mothers and dads would park their cars and just drive up to the theater and unload child after kid after room. Thousands of children every Saturday morning. And I was told the other day they remembered, that lady who wrote to me on my email, said she remembers bringing her own children down there. She was an old lady now, my age. She said, I couldn't imagine that they would ever be in harm's way to take my children down to such an event and drop them off and leave them. But they were never harmed. And she said, that's a compliment to your kind of
It
leader.
is in this day and time.
Yeah.
It is this day and
She
time.
couldn't imagine doing that today.
How did you open your shows? What was your spiel?
I had a horse. Horse's name was Ranger.
You're talking about a stick horse.
Yeah, a real live horse. We filmed it.
The little horse. Was he a big horse?
Yeah, a real horse.
You had him on there every week?
Well, he was a film.
Okay, you filmed that part.
Yeah,
So how did you open your show when you came out live? You had an open, you came on, what would you say?
Hi there, boys and girls, and then holla, hi, Benny. What time is it? Time for the Circle 6 Ranch. Ray! Every day.
Ad-libbed everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They had no scripts. You don't have a script, do
No.
you? No.
I hear it.
That's right. That's right.
TV's changed a whole lot.
Well, you've done a great job with it. Great job. Carrying on the ad-libbing, live, local programming. Marvelous. Keep it going. I want to tell you one more thing that you mentioned to me. Now, you came to me for a job one time, long time ago.
You were mean to me.
Huh?
You were mean to me.
I wasn't mean to you. I may have seemed like it, but
I sure did.
we had a contract to sell the TV
Right,
station.
you told me that later.
And I couldn't
Right.
hire anybody or fire anybody. But that was not the real reason. The real reason was I couldn't afford you.
Well, I was just out of college. Do you actually remember meeting me back in 72 or 73, whenever it was?
That one time when you
Yeah,
came
I went to all 3 stations every week.
yeah,
You know, around
trying to
like
get a
that.
job.
Trying to get a job and still doing it, but maybe I should have done something else. But it's work, you know, I loved it. Still do.
I had a lot of understanding about people who were going out looking for a job, wanting to create something, and that's what you were doing.
Trying to. A lot of us in the TV business get egos. And I've talked to people, they say that Benny and Carle was hard to work with. Did you ever hear that?
Yeah, yeah. They have never explained that, but I think it's
But
true.
you wanted it done your way.
Wanted what done my way?
Your show.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
So you worked with Mac Bramlett.
Mac was a good friend. Yeah, he was an engineer.
I
Yeah.
worked with his brother Danny at Educational TV
Oh, really?
back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
If you came back on TV today and had your own show, what type of show would it be?
If I came back onto
If
the,
you did your own show today on 613 or even with us, what kind of show would you want to do?
what kind of show would you need?
Good answer.
What kind would you need? And I'll see if I qualify.
I think you got the experience. I've noticed you still do, you're up to date on computers, you're on the internet, you're doing all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When will you ever just say, I mean, you're still in the business, so it still counts. You've been in business longer than anybody, active, and still doing it. You're a legend.
People ask me how I've stayed in the business this long, and my answer, excuse me, I don't have the voice for live radio or TV anymore. My answer has always been, there's no heavy lifting.
Did you start out doing Jack's Hamburgers commercials?
Yeah, yeah. Me and cousin Cliff Holman.
I'm Cousin Cliff.
Yeah,
That's another one.
yeah. I engineered and hired him. At Channel 13, I was on the air there doing the Jack's Hamburgers commercial. And Cliff came along as a comedian, magician comedian, as a guest on my show. And I always said he was such a great comedian and a great
He's a magician and a
magician.
comedian.
Yeah, he turned me into a straight man. And I liked him, and I kept him on. Next thing you know, another sponsor wanted to come on that was competitive to me. I think it was a bread sponsor. So we had to create a show for Cliff to come on after mine, and he took that bread sponsor. And from there on, we've just stayed friends forever. Even when I went to the other station, Channel 6, we stayed friends forever. Cliff was a great friend, a long, great friend of mine. And so was Bill Wright, another name that people seem to have forgotten these days. He did the Uncle Bill show.
Okay. Heard of
That
it.
replaced mine. When I left Channel 13 and went to 6, he took over my own show on that station.
When you would go out, say in the 50s or 60s, out with the three boys, your wife, whatever, what was it like? Did people consider you the Chuck Connor of that era or that area? I mean, you had to be just so well known you couldn't go anywhere.
That's true. Yeah, but I did go anywhere I wanted to go. They recognized me, but it was fun. I loved it.
When it's all said and done, and you live to be 100, but how do you want people in, not only in the TV industry, but just all together that were on your show and everything, and people like me that grew up watching you, how do you want all of us to remember Benny Carle? What do you want to be known for?
What do I want to be known for?
Remembered for?
Well, as an honest, good Christian man. A religious person. I really am. And if anything has given me any longevity at all, that's what it is.
You're still working.
Yeah.
Anything else you wished you had done in the television industry?
No, I can't think of anything. Like I told you a while ago, I did for what I did from the time I could do it till the time I can't do it anymore.
With everything like it is
My
now,
voice gives away at a certain age.
the internet or stuff like that, and how does local television survive today?
How does it?
How do we survive today?
Well,
There aren't many Benny Carles. If there's anybody compared to somebody like you, it's me.
Yeah, I agree.
How do we survive? And what after me, what happens to television, local television?
There'll come a time when you will retire. So think about what you would say if somebody asked you that question.
Well, I hope that question doesn't come from me for quite some time.
Well, I hope it doesn't either. I hope you had as long a life in it as I had, because I got off the air when I wanted to, not when I was made to.
You know, when I tell people, I've
I've
been made to come off a few, but when I tell people I'm going to interview Benny Carle, they say, "Is he still alive? You're in amazing health."
Yeah. I hope I feel good. Nothing hurts so far.
You miss television, doing
Yeah.
that live thing with kids.
Yeah, that I do miss. I love children. And I love to talk to them. And I didn't talk at them, I talked to them.
Speaking of children, I want to bring up something you mentioned earlier. You put black kids on.
Yeah.
When did you first do that in Birmingham?
Had to be 1951 or 52, somewhere in that era.
Now, that wasn't too good.
Well, I didn't know they were, there was any problem. Their group had called up and made reservations, just like anybody else. And when the day came for them to be on the show, I didn't even know what color they were. I had no idea until I got a phone call from Bull Connor. And Bull said, "I know what you're doing, and I'm going to have to give you some protection." I said, "What kind of protection are you talking about?" He said, "Well, in case something happened, to go have the black children on." So he sent a couple of squad cars up to the station. When the show arrived, were on the show, and when they left, and nothing ever happened. Bad. Nothing happened. I treated them just like anybody else, and they were so perfect. So they were children. And
I asked you this earlier, and you said it wasn't ever true. My preacher buddy from Lindsay Lane Baptist says, Dusty McLemore says, "You got to ask him about the little black boy saying somebody farted on TV." You say that's not true.
It didn't happen to me, and it didn't happen to Cousin Cliff, and it didn't happen to Bill Wright. And we were the only 3 kid shows in Birmingham, but they all got blamed with it. We all got blamed with it. And that same joke, as I told you a while ago, never happened, but it continued to go all over this world. I think people everywhere I've ever known have always brought, "Did that really happen?" And sometimes, in keep them from, because that, you know what they say? I saw it.
Yeah. We know Johnny Evans, a great friend of mine.
Yeah, Johnny.
Johnny's still around. He's about 80 now, but Johnny did a kid show.
Yeah, Johnny was my colleague in Huntsville.
Right.
Yeah,
Johnny
on the other
did
thing.
that, and a lot of kids still remember him from that.
Yeah.
It's amazing you had that.
Did Johnny
kid.
get blamed with it too?
No, I don't know about that, but you had so many kids on, yet nothing ever happened to a single one. I mean, that's got to be the way things are these days.
Nothing bad ever happened at all because I take things in stride. Excuse me again. I took things in. Let me tell you one thing. I was sitting between two sisters. All the risers was full of children. And the camera was on us, and I was talking to this sister and that sister. And this sister over here, young girl, 6 or 8 years old, said, "I got to go to the bathroom." I said, "All right, honey, go right down here and take the left, or take a right, and go to the first door on the left, and there's the bathroom. Go right ahead." And she went, "No problem. You know, children have to go to the bathroom. Well, what's the big deal?" So I told her how to get there. And the sister next to me said, "She's got kidneys." And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was. It still is. How did you end your shows?
How did I end it?
How did you end your show? If you look right there, and my camera's going right there that Brad's got. How did you end your shows?
You want me to bring this one to an end? Is that what you have in mind?
I'm getting close to that, but I wanted you to tell me how you ended your shows.
Boys and girls, I'll see you tomorrow. May the good Lord bless and keep you. Bye-bye.
Now, if you were trying to end this one, which you just gave me a hint you were trying to, how would you end this interview, this conversation you and I have had?
Keep on watching Jamie. He's got a good show. He keeps you entertained, and I was proud to be on it, and I want to thank you for calling on me to be on your show.
Well, you put me off long enough. Benny?
I hope I made up for it.
You made our childhood great growing up when you were at WMSL. You're a living legend in the broadcast industry in Huntsville and all North Alabama, Birmingham. And thanks for being part of our Off the Cuff. You are truly a living legend. I want to say that despite not hiring me when you had an opportunity, but I understand now, and we just want to wish you the best of life, and thank you for being part of ZTV and our Cooper & Company Off the Cuff interview. You are truly a great person.
Thank you, Jamie, and
Yes,
God
sir.
bless you.
Thank you. All right.